Good evening and welcome to the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. We are continuing the hearing in docket number 2023-2-E concerning the annual review of base rates for fuel cost of Dominion Energy South Carolina Incorporated. We are here this evening to receive public testimony from customers of the utility, and we'll begin with those in just a minute. But before we begin, let's take a roll call of commissioners. With us virtually, we have Commissioner Irvin and Commissioner Justin Williams. Present in the hearing room, we have Vice Chair Powers, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Kara Lee Williams, and Commissioner Caston and Chair Belser. Also in the hearing room, we have attorneys for Dominion Energy, South Carolina, Southern Alliance for Clean Energy and the Coastal Conservation League, and Office of Regulatory Staff. Anything further before we begin? Mr. Burgess.
Good evening, Chair Belser and members of the Commission. I know it's been a long day. And good evening to DESC's customers who are on the phone and also in the hearing room with us. My name is Chad Burgess. I'm in-house corporate counsel for Dominion Energy South Carolina. And I just wanted to take a quick moment to let the customers know that we appreciate you being here today. We appreciate the ones on the phone as well. We are interested in the things that you have to say and the concerns that you have that you want to express to the Commission. And we also want to make sure you understand that we empathize with customers who may find themselves in difficult times when it comes to paying their electric bill. And as a result of that, I wanted to give our customers a telephone number that if they do find themselves in need of financial assistance, they can call this number. We do have customer service representatives who are manning that phone as we speak, and that phone line will be available to them for at least 1 hour after this public night hearing concludes. That phone number is 1-800-922-8802. And again, that telephone number is 1-800-922-8802. And if you're unable to contact the company this evening, we are available to discuss matters with your bill from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, using that same telephone number. So thank you, Chair Belser, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Ms. Given, anything from the Office of Regulatory Staff?
Just a brief opening remark, Madam Chair.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening to the customers of Dominion Energy who are here with us virtually and also in person. My name is Nicole Given, and I'm an attorney with the South Carolina Office of Regulatory Staff, which is also commonly referred to as ORS. ORS is a state agency which is separate and apart from the Public Service Commission. ORS is charged with representing the public interest and making recommendations to the Commission. This hearing provides an opportunity for consumers to share their thoughts and comments regarding the company's annual base rates for fuel costs. It is important that the Commission hears from you as they consider and render a final decision in this matter. If you have a specific billing or customer service issue, you can call ORS Consumer Services at 1-800-922-1531. If you prefer to talk to me or an ORS representative directly, there are some in the room here tonight. You can stay following the conclusion of the hearing, and I'll be happy to talk with you for as long as it takes. I can't talk to you while testimony is being taken, but if you stay after the conclusion of the hearing, I'd be happy to speak with you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Given. Ms. Boyd, do we have our first witness on the phone?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Mr. Pati, I think I'm pronounced his name correctly, is on the phone.
Mr. Pati, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little muffled, but I can hear you.
I'll try to speak a little louder. Mr. Pati.
That's a lot better.
Okay, I'm going to ask the court reporter to swear you in. All witnesses, for us to consider their testimony, have to be under oath. So she's going to ask you to swear or affirm. Just a second.
Okay.
Sir, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Pati, I'm Florence Belser. I'm chair of the commission, and I'm going to ask you a couple of questions before you begin your testimony. Would you state your name for the record, please?
It's Harak Patty.
Okay, Mr. Patty, I apologize for mispronouncing it. And would you give us your street name? You don't have to give your complete like house number or apartment number, but your street name and your town.
Okay, it's 209 Sawyer, that's Sawyer Circle, and that's in Charleston, South Carolina.
And you are a Dominion customer, is that correct?
I am.
Okay. Mr. Patty, please go ahead and give us your testimony regarding your thoughts on this matter before us.
Thank you. I wanted to first take the opportunity to thank the commission for holding this public hearing today. And kind of what I wanted to say is I've covered some of the things I was about to say in my letter, and so that the commission, when they will get a chance, they will review that letter. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that I actually was here back in, I believe it was in December now, when Dominion actually came up and asked for the last hike in fuel costs, and they've come back again now with a request for a new rate hike. And I think one of the reasons for that is that there was actually an article that pointed out that as of the last rate hike, Dominion was about $400 million short due to the fact that the natural gas prices have increased. It was also pointed out that the commission had actually requested that Dominion actually use commodity market contracts to hedge against price increases about 2 years ago. But unfortunately, the company did not take on that. And so when the natural gas prices went up, that ended up also increasing fuel costs. And now we, the ratepayers, are being asked to pay that increased fuel costs, which could have been avoided had they employed that. I also wanted to point the commission to 5827-875F, which says that the commission shall disallow recovery of any fuel costs that it finds without just cause to be a result of the failure of the utility to make every reasonable effort to minimize fuel costs, or any decision of the utility resulting in unreasonable fuel costs, giving due regard to reliability of service, economic generation and mix, generating experience of comparable facilities, and minimization of the total cost of providing service. So, there's one of the things. But the other thing I think that must be kept in mind is that Dominion is also up for its recent IRP that it has submitted as of 2023 of this year. And I think it's important that the commission take into account the fact that Dominion continues to state that they are going to actually increase the amount of natural gas that they're using. They're actually proposing a new facility that they want to construct. I believe that's in 2030. So I think that I would like for the commission to, one, vote against this rate hike that's being requested by Dominion. But secondly, also take a look at the IRP and make sure that they're really considering the assumptions that are made there. And to increase, I think they should consider increasing the amount of solar that's requested as well as storage, and hopefully also taking a look at kind of what Dominion's assumptions have been about natural gas, because it seems to me that they've sort of reported how expensive that the natural gas is going to be, and we're already seeing that happen now. So I hope that the commission will take that into account as they continue on. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you guys today, and hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Patty. Hold on just a minute and let me see if there are any questions for you. Any questions from the parties? Questions from commissioners? Mr. Patty, thank you very much for your testimony. It sounds like you did a good bit of research. And Commissioner Irvin has a question.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes. Actually, I was the one that asked the company, Dominion, to reinstate its hedging program that used to have that would have been like an insurance policy in the event of a spike in natural gas pricing. And in fact, they chose not to. And then natural gas prices year over year were up about 100 to 110%. And that's resulted in an under collection, which, as you stated, is in excess of $400 million. As an informed ratepayer of Dominion, my question for you is, do you think that it was unreasonable for Dominion not to reinstate its hedging program so that ratepayers would be protected by, in the event of a 110% price in natural gas increase?
Commissioner, I do believe it is unreasonable. And the reason why I feel like it is unreasonable is because, you've seen those increases, as you've noted. And also, I believe when this was proposed about 2 years ago, that was, I believe, during the pandemic. So I think it was pretty natural to expect that once that demand returned, that there would be an increase in natural gas price. And I think that could have been very reasonable. And one thing I will point out is Dominion, as a company, is a very educated, they're very educated in that. They have lots of experts. They'll have experts that you can see that will be testifying today. And they're even more knowledgeable than you and I might be about that. So I do think it's very unreasonable that they, in fact, did not take that into account.
Well, as you may know, the legal standard in this proceeding is, was their conduct in were their actions reasonable and prudent, given all the circumstances at the time? And of course, we're looking at this 1 year in terms of fuel cost. Would you also characterize it as imprudent that they did not take steps to hedge the possibility of a spike in natural gas pricing?
Yes, I would.
Do you think that had they taken the action that I recommended, which was to reinstate the hedging fund, that we could have avoided this proceeding entirely and that customers could have saved hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yes, I do think I would, especially if that action would have, led to them not having the shortfall that they've ended up in.
Do you think that going forward that the company should consider battery storage in their planning in terms of resources, and look at the possibility of using battery storage to help avoid the rolling blackouts that we saw in South Carolina during the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day cycle?
Yes, I do. I do think that battery storage is a technology that's already been being employed in other states, like, for example, of course, California is already employing it, and there's a lot of other states that are already employing this technology. So it's already an existing technology. It's not really like a super new anymore. So I hope that Dominion is taking that into account in its IRP as it continues to move forward here, that it will actually take that into account and employ more of it than it's currently proposing in its current IRP.
You seem to be well informed. Are you aware of the green hydrogen that's now being considered by many utilities, including the U.S. Department of Energy? They're offering substantial sums, billions of dollars, for investment tax credits to study and employ green hydrogen, which actually has a combustion rate 3 times higher than gasoline and has no carbon emissions. Have you looked at that at all?
Commissioner, I'm not as familiar with green hydrogen. I have seen that is something that is being pursued as kind of a newer technology and as a replacement for natural gas. I did also want to bring up the fact that, the Inflation Reduction Act offers a lot of opportunities for funding incentives. And I'm also not entirely sure, upon reviewing the IRP, that Dominion has actually taken that fully into account in its calculations of determining what technologies are best for generating capacity in the future. But as far as green hydrogen, I would probably defer to maybe another expert that might be a little bit more familiar in that particular field.
Fair enough. I would encourage you to look into it, because the literature that I've seen, research has been done, indicates that after the federal tax credit, it actually doesn't cost the utility any money. It's actually a zero cost when you take into consideration the grant monies and the investment tax credits are available. So I would encourage you to research that point, and I hope others will as well, and maybe we can revisit it when we get to the Dominion IRP proceeding in August. Thank you for coming, and thank you for testifying today. No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Irvin. Commissioners, are there any further questions for Mr. Patty? Mr. Patty, I would like to thank you for your time and your testimony this evening. We appreciate you taking advantage of this forum and sharing your testimony with us.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, and have a good evening.
You too.
I think our next witness is Ms. Cothran, who's here in the hearing room with us. Hit it again. It's on now. Thank you.
Good evening.
Ms. Cothran, let me ask you to state your name, please.
Mary Cothran.
And I'm going to ask the court reporter to swear you in, or swear or affirm. You may do either.
And raise your right hand, please. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Cothran, let me ask you a couple of questions. Would you give us your street name and your town? You don't have to give the number of your house or apartment.
Reedy River Court, Lexington, SC.
And are you a Dominion customer?
I am.
Thank you. Please feel free to give us your testimony about this matter tonight.
Chair Belzer and Commissioners, thank you so much for having me this evening. I appreciate the opportunity to engage with you. I very much view you as the white hats in the old Western movies. You are the regulators. You are mounted up and you're riding forward, and I appreciate the opportunity to have this valued component of the system, which is input from ratepayers such as myself. So here I am again in front of you. Dominion's rate increase of about 6% would raise my average of $200 bill to $211. $11 doesn't sound like a lot on a monthly bill to some people, but to me, it's obscene. I object to the principle of the matter at hand, rate increase based on fuel costs when there are viable energy options that have no fuel whatsoever available to Dominion. So about 4 years ago, I kept an open mind when Dominion came to South Carolina, and I went to a town hall that they had over at Brooklyn Baptist Church in West Columbia, and I met with some of the customer service representatives there, and we talked about what it would look like when Dominion purchased SC DN and set up shop in South Carolina, and they made some promises to me right then and there, and I feel like those promises are being broken. I remember looking at a timeline and promises not to raise rates for a certain amount of time, and here we are in 2023 talking about a rate increase of 6% that, when combined with the 2 rate hikes from last year, would mean bills would go up about 17% higher. And I'm furious. I know that our South Carolina customers are already being pushed to the limits due to inflation, due to challenges in employment, due to a possible recession right around the corner. And we're already recovering from what I believe to be astronomically high bills to begin with from January. So this addition is too much for me to bear. Many people are already having to make hard decisions between paying utilities and paying for other necessities that simply won't, we simply won't be able to bear this rate increase. And even worse, I feel like Dominion is trying to cast the blame on everything but themselves. For years, Dominion has been warned about the volatility of the pricing of gas, or fracked gas as I like to call it, so that we remember the demonstrable environmental problems that come with natural gas. Yet they continue year after year to double down on natural gas. The PSC, I'm calling on you as the white hats in the room to protect South Carolinians from Dominion's poor planning around fuel. If Dominion had invested in clean energy, none of this would be necessary and I wouldn't be here. Our state has amazing clean energy potential, but Dominion has done little to take care of this or take advantage of this. My money in this rate increase should not be given or going to a company to pay for more costly fuels, which contribute to a host of environmental issues and health issues. I would like to see Dominion bet on affordable clean energy for all South Carolinians, and that clean energy should not be tied to fuels of any kind, perhaps maybe even including green hydrogen. I would like to see Dominion work on realistic rate setting, and the PSC has a role to play there. But lastly, I would like to say, dear PSC, please do not put polluters over the people of South Carolina. And in the words of Billy the Kid, it's time for my regulators to mount up and ride out. Thank you.
Ms. Cothran, thank you for your testimony this evening. Let me see if there are any questions for you. Any questions from parties? Commissioners, questions for this witness? Okay. Ms. Cothran, thank you for your time in coming out tonight, preparing and presenting your testimony. We hear the customers. We've heard some from this morning and some this evening, and we'll do our best.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for being here. You may be excused, and do we have any other witnesses this evening?
No, ma'am, Madam Chair, we don't.
Okay. Is there any other matter to come before the commission in this proceeding this evening or today? Okay, nothing from the parties. With that, we will adjourn this hearing that started this morning, and everybody have safe travels home, and we will notify the parties of their decision before too long. I do need counsel. Have y'all discussed proposed orders? Okay. If y'all can just talk for a minute about proposed orders, we'll have to email Mr. Elliott about that as well. But thank you, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much.